What makes one woman stay loyal while another destroys everything you've built? It's not luck and it's not destiny. It's hidden in the choices she makes every single day. One guards the bond even when temptation comes knocking. The other uses temptation as a green light to betray. Most men don't see the difference until it's too late. But you don't have to be one of them. There are 7 shocking differences between loyal women and disloyal ones. And once you know them, you'll never be fooled again. Let's start with the very first sign. And trust me, it's not the one most men expect. Number 1. Look at how she handles emotional responsibility. One of the clearest differences between a loyal woman and a disloyal one lies in how she handles her emotions and the responsibility that comes with them. Female psychology shows that emotions are powerful forces in a woman's life, but the way she navigates them reveals her character. A loyal woman understands that while she may feel anger, sadness, or disappointment, those emotions are hers to own. She doesn't project them onto you as if you're the cause of every storm in her heart. Instead, she communicates them honestly, with a desire to be understood and to maintain connection. When she feels upset, she doesn't immediately look for someone else to soothe her or escape into external validation. She brings it to you because she values the relationship and trusts that you can hold space for her feelings. On the other hand, a disloyal woman treats her emotions like weapons or excuses. Instead of owning her feelings, she uses them to manipulate or justify disconnection. When she feels unhappy, she looks outward instead of inward. Rather than addressing the issue with you, she blames you, or worse, seeks comfort from other men. In her mind, loyalty is conditional, tied to whether her emotions are perfectly catered to in the moment. This is why many men are blindsided. They think everything is fine, but she has quietly built a narrative where her disloyalty feels justified by how she felt. The loyal woman takes responsibility for her inner world. She doesn't expect perfection, but she expects honesty from herself first. She knows that emotions can pass, and she values the relationship enough to manage them instead of letting them destroy the bond. The disloyal woman lets her emotions control her actions. When she's angry, she lashes out recklessly. When she's insecure, she looks for attention outside. When she's bored, she seeks thrills elsewhere. The contrast is stark, and it begins with emotional responsibility. Loyal women treat their emotions as signals to communicate and connect, while disloyal women use them as excuses to betray trust. Number 2. Pay attention to how she handles closeness when things get uncomfortable. A loyal woman reveals her true nature not in moments of ease but in moments of tension, when closeness feels heavy and vulnerability feels uncomfortable. Female psychology teaches us that relationships are not just built on attraction, but on the ability to withstand discomfort together. A loyal woman understands that intimacy requires patience and courage. When the connection feels strained, when emotions rise, or when misunderstandings occur, she doesn't run. Instead, she leans into the discomfort and seeks resolution. She wants to stay close even when it hurts, because to her, closeness is not optional. It's the foundation of loyalty. A disloyal woman responds to discomfort differently. When closeness brings up fear, insecurity, or conflict, she retreats. She avoids the hard conversations. She distances herself emotionally and sometimes even physically. Rather than working through the unease, she seeks escape routes. In her psychology, discomfort is a threat to be avoided rather than an opportunity for deeper connection. This is why you'll often see disloyal women become distant during arguments or stressful times. They use space not as a tool for reflection, but as a way to detach, to slowly create room for outside attention or distraction. This difference is subtle but powerful. The loyal woman may not enjoy conflict, but she sees value in facing it. She'll argue, she'll cry, she'll express frustration, but she will still stay in the fight because she values the bond more than her temporary discomfort. She knows that true intimacy cannot exist without facing the moments that test it. The disloyal woman, however, prioritizes comfort over connection. When closeness demands emotional strength, she pulls away, telling herself she deserves better, or that it's easier to find validation elsewhere. This is why how she behaves in those uncomfortable moments says far more about her loyalty than how she behaves when things are smooth and easy. Number 3. Watch the way she tests you. Every woman tests, but the reason behind the test and the way she does it reveal whether she is loyal or disloyal. Female psychology shows that testing is not about cruelty, it's about reassurance. A loyal woman tests you because she wants to confirm your strength, your stability, and your consistency. She might challenge your boundaries, question your decisions, or push lightly against your frame, not because she wants to tear you down, but because she wants to feel safe knowing you can hold steady when she wavers. For her, testing is a way of asking, "Can I trust you to be strong when I can't be?" Her tests are designed to build intimacy, to strengthen the bond, and to deepen her confidence in the relationship. A disloyal woman tests for different reasons. Her tests are not about reassurance, but about disruption. She uses tests to create drama, to provoke reactions, and sometimes to justify her own detachment. Instead of testing to build trust, she tests to see how much she can get away with. She might flirt openly to watch how you respond. She might provoke jealousy intentionally, or she might create unnecessary conflict to feed her need for chaos. For her, testing is not about securing the relationship. It's about destabilizing it, creating cracks she can later use as excuses for her disloyalty. The loyal woman's tests may sometimes frustrate you, but they ultimately lead to growth if handled correctly. When you respond with calmness and confidence, she feels reassured and her respect for you deepens. The disloyal woman's tests, however, drain your energy because they are never-ending. They are designed not to strengthen the bond, but to weaken it, keeping you constantly on edge. Understanding this difference is crucial. Both types of women test, but the loyal woman tests to feel safe with you, while the disloyal one tests to create distance or to prepare an exit. The way she tests you is not random. It's a reflection of her true character and her intentions in the relationship. Number 4. Listen carefully to the way she talks about her past. A woman's past is more than just a history of events. It's a window into her values, her mindset, and her patterns of loyalty. Female psychology makes it clear that the way she frames her past reveals far more than the details themselves. A loyal woman, even if she has been hurt or betrayed before, speaks about her past with a certain level of honesty and respect. She doesn't need to glorify herself as a perfect victim, nor does she tear down every man she's been with. Instead, she acknowledges what happened, takes responsibility for her part, and shows that she has learned from her experiences. When she talks about an ex, she might admit, "We weren't right for each other," or "I made mistakes too." This humility and balance show that her loyalty is rooted in character, not in convenience. A disloyal woman tells a very different story. When she speaks about her past, she often paints herself as blameless and every man she's been with as the problem. The language she uses is filled with bitterness, blame, or secrecy. She may avoid answering questions directly or change the subject when her past relationships come up, signaling that she doesn't want her actions revealed. Sometimes she exaggerates how terrible her exes were, portraying herself as the victim every time. This isn't just storytelling. It's a reflection of how she sees loyalty. If she can't acknowledge her role in past failures, it means she's unlikely to take responsibility in the present. Another key difference is transparency. A loyal woman has no reason to hide important parts of her past because she values honesty and knows her actions align with her principles. She might not share every detail immediately, but she won't avoid the truth when it matters. A disloyal woman, however, often keeps secrets, downplays certain relationships, or rewrites history to make herself look better. The way she talks about her past shows whether she's capable of owning her choices or whether she will always shift blame to protect her image. This difference is subtle, but it's one of the clearest signs of whether loyalty runs deep in her character. Number 5. Watch how she treats flirting. Flirting is one of the most revealing behaviors when it comes to understanding a woman's loyalty, because how she handles attention outside the relationship speaks volumes about her respect for you and for the bond you share. Female psychology shows that every woman will be tested by outside interest at some point, whether it's a stranger complimenting her, a coworker being a little too friendly, or a man sliding into her messages. The difference between a loyal and a disloyal woman is not whether attention comes her way, it's how she responds to it. A loyal woman sees flirting from others as meaningless and unnecessary, and she makes it clear through her words and actions that she is not available. She values the exclusivity of the relationship, and even subtle boundaries, like avoiding engaging conversations that could be misinterpreted, are her way of protecting that loyalty. A disloyal woman, however, thrives on attention. She doesn't shut down flirting because she enjoys the validation it gives her. She may not act on it immediately, but she leaves the door open, keeping those connections alive in the background. To her, flirting becomes a game, a way to feed her ego, or even a backup plan in case she grows bored or dissatisfied. The danger isn't only in what she does, but in how casually she excuses it. She might say it's just harmless fun, but the truth is, every time she entertains outside attention, she weakens the trust in the relationship. The loyal woman treats flirting as disrespectful, both to herself and to you, because she understands that attention comes with implications. She doesn't want to invite problems that could put her commitment in question. A disloyal woman, on the other hand, interprets flirting as her right, something she deserves, and she often downplays the seriousness of it to avoid accountability. Watching how she reacts when another man gives her attention tells you everything you need to know. Does she step back and make her loyalty clear? Or does she lean into the attention and soak it up for her own satisfaction? That single moment often separates a woman who values her bond with you from one who only values the spotlight. Number 6. Pay attention to how she talks about freedom. Freedom is a word that reveals a lot about a woman's mindset. And in female psychology, it often carries two very different meanings depending on whether she is loyal or disloyal. A loyal woman values freedom within the relationship, but she defines it in terms of trust, respect, and individuality. To her, freedom means being able to pursue her goals, maintain her friendships, and express herself without fear of being controlled. It's not about escaping the relationship, but about flourishing within it. When she talks about freedom, her language reflects partnership. She wants both of you to feel respected and trusted while still being deeply committed to one another. A disloyal woman, however, often uses the idea of freedom as a mask for keeping her options open. To her, freedom means having no accountability for her actions, no boundaries on her behavior, and the ability to entertain attention from others while still claiming the benefits of being with you. She may say things like, "I just don't want to feel trapped," or "I need to live my life." But underneath those words is often a desire for escape routes, not genuine independence. This kind of freedom isn't about growth within the relationship. It's about keeping one foot out the door. The loyal woman understands that freedom and loyalty can coexist. She knows she doesn't need to betray trust in order to feel fulfilled. Her sense of freedom is rooted in the confidence that her partner respects her choices, and she respects his in return. The disloyal woman sees freedom as detachment, as a way to justify behavior that undermines the relationship. She treats loyalty as optional when it clashes with her desire for independence, and in doing so, she exposes her true nature. Listening closely to how she describes freedom and watching how she applies it in her life is one of the clearest ways to distinguish whether her version of freedom strengthens the relationship or slowly destroys it. Number 7. Watch how she handles conflict, and even how she reacts to compliments. Conflict and compliments may seem like two separate areas, but in female psychology, they both serve as windows into a woman's deeper character. How she navigates tension and how she responds to positive attention show whether her loyalty is built on respect or if her actions are driven by ego and insecurity. A loyal woman handles conflict with the intention of protecting the relationship. Even when emotions run high, her goal is resolution, not destruction. She may get upset, she may express frustration, but underneath the disagreement, there is still respect. She doesn't use conflict as a weapon to belittle you or as an excuse to justify bad behavior. Instead, she sees conflict as a natural part of growth and uses it as an opportunity to strengthen the bond rather than weaken it. A disloyal woman, on the other hand, often weaponizes conflict. She creates fights out of thin air, exaggerates small issues, or escalates arguments beyond reason. Why? Because conflict becomes a cover for deeper discontent, a way to distance herself emotionally and rationalize disloyalty. When a woman constantly seeks drama, it's rarely about the surface problem. It's about testing boundaries or setting the stage for her next move. Conflict in this case doesn't bring resolution. It creates division, and that division becomes fertile ground for betrayal. Compliments are equally telling. A loyal woman accepts compliments with grace, whether they come from you or from others. She doesn't seek validation outside the relationship because she already feels secure in her worth and in your bond. When you compliment her, she values it deeply because it strengthens the intimacy you share. A disloyal woman often has a very different reaction. She might downplay or dismiss your compliments, acting as though they don't matter. Yet she lights up when those same compliments come from someone else. For her, validation from outsiders carries more weight because it fuels her ego and feeds the desire for constant attention. By watching closely how she responds to conflict and compliments, you see the mask slip. A loyal woman's actions reveal a mindset rooted in respect and security, while a disloyal woman's reactions expose an endless hunger for validation and a willingness to undermine the very relationship she claims to value. So let me ask you straight. Will you walk away from this knowledge like nothing happened, or will you use it as a weapon to protect yourself? The line between being played for years and building a future of power starts with that decision right now. If this video hit you, don't let it stop here. Share it with a man who needs to hear the truth before it's too late. Smash the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment saying, "I'm awake now." That way, I'll know you're one of the men who refuses to stay blind. And never forget this. You can't always control what a woman does, but you can always control your frame, your response, and your peace. That control is what makes a man unbreakable.